Once upon a time, a great monk was lying on his deathbed. Before passing away, he said to his young disciple, who was also his chosen successor, "Remember one thing, never allow a cat into your life." With these final words, the master took his last breath. A large crowd had gathered to hear the last statement of the revered monk. Everyone was surprised by his unusual last words, including the young successor. He kept wondering, why should I not allow a cat in my life? The master was cremated with full rituals and respect. However, the young monk was still puzzled and kept thinking about his master's final message. He could not understand its deeper meaning. There was also an old monk in the monastery who had lived alongside the master for many years and had closely observed his life. Although he was wise, he was not chosen as a successor due to his old age and declining health. Noticing that the young monk had been lost in thought for several days, the old monk approached him and asked, "Why do you seem so troubled?" The young monk shared, "Before dying, the master told me not to allow a cat in my life, and I don't know what he meant." The old monk smiled gently and said, "My dear friend, perhaps you don't know. There is a long story behind it." And so, he began telling the story. A long time ago, when the master was a young man, he renounced his home, wife, and children to seek the truth. He went deep into the forest and started living near a small village. Every day, he would go to the village to beg for food. The villagers were pleased to have him in their village. They often sought his guidance. Out of respect, they built a small bamboo cottage for him to live in. The monk had only 2 pieces of clothing, but soon a problem arose. Rats began entering his cottage and chewing on his clothes. This caused great trouble for the monk. He shared his concern with the villagers. One of them suggested, "Why don't you keep a cat? It will drive the rats away." The monk found the idea sensible and accepted a cat from the villagers. As expected, the cat kept the rats away. But now a new problem arose. He had to feed the cat. For that, he had to go to the village several times to ask for milk. When he shared this new concern, a villager said, "Instead of coming to the village several times a day, why don't you keep a cow? If you have a cow, then you'll get milk for the cat and also for yourself. We can give you a healthy cow." The monk agreed and began keeping the cow. But soon he realized that the cow needed grass and regular care. Since the monk spent most of his time meditating, it became difficult for him to visit the village several times a day to beg for grass. Again, he shared his concern with the villagers. The villagers said, "It does not seem right that a monk like you begs for grass every day. You should have someone to help you." They proposed a solution. "There is a widow in our village. Her husband has passed away, and she has no family. If we ask her, she would be happy to serve a monk like you. She can take care of your cow, your cat, and even you. We will also clear some land beside your cottage so that she can grow grass and vegetables there." The monk found nothing wrong with the idea. The villagers spoke to the widow, and she readily agreed. She moved into the cottage and began managing everything, feeding the cow and the cat, maintaining the hut, cooking meals, and working in the small field. She worked with great dedication. The monk, seeing her efforts, started helping her in the field. Slowly, they began spending more time with each other, working side by side. Eventually, their bond started to deepen. The woman was beautiful, and the monk was young. They were living under the same roof, and it was only a matter of time before they developed feelings for each other. Their relationship turned intimate, and ultimately, the woman became pregnant. After a few months, she gave birth to a child. The monk who once meditated all day now worked tirelessly in the field to feed his family. One day, after a long day of work, he sat down and thought, "What happened to me? I had renounced my family and the world to seek the truth. But this is the whole world again. I am once again living the same worldly life." It had all happened so gradually that he had not noticed until the birth of the child. Then he realized it all began with the cat. Finishing the story, the old monk looked at the young successor and said, "My friend, when the master told you not to allow a cat in your life, he was not literally talking about cats. He meant, never give your mind even the smallest indulgence or distraction, because if you do, it will slowly take over your life without you even realizing it." He continued, If we honestly look at our lives, we will see that many times we knowingly allow our mind to do things that we are aware are not right for us. We convince ourselves by saying, just only once, it won't become a habit. But that's where the problem begins. The moment you give your mind a little freedom, it starts demanding more. And without even realizing, you fall into its trap. This is how addictions and bad habits take birth. Take the example of watching porn. Many youngsters start watching porn just once without the intention of becoming a slave to it. They just give their mind a little space to enjoy, but slowly it becomes a deep-rooted habit. The same happens with junk food. We know it is harmful, yet we give in just once. Over time, it affects our health, our energy, and our life. The mind is extremely powerful. It can be your best friend or your worst enemy. A well-controlled mind can take you anywhere you wish to go, while an uncontrolled one can drag you into places you never wanted to be. A mind without control is like a fast-running car without a steering wheel, or a train without tracks. It has speed, but no direction, and that is dangerous. Therefore, you must learn to control your mind and guide it. Otherwise, it will take control of your life. Even the great monk gave a little leverage to his mind, and that one choice brought him back into the very world he had once renounced. So never keep the cat of mental indulgence, because once you let it in, it will quietly take over your life before you even notice.